All right, and welcome to this video on work orders, our work order series. And during this video, we're going to take a deeper look at your requests and specifically the best practices surrounding its setup. So let's dive in. When it comes to express request, again, the way you get there, maintenance, work orders, and requests, what you have here is this should be a neat and organized way that you can see all of the incoming requests and be able to handle those requests, sort them by priority, categorize them, and convert them into work orders without a lot of chaos. It should also be a communication tool. If I'm a requester and I go to Express Request and I submit a request, I should be able to go to my overview, excuse me, I should be able to go to my overview and see what's been submitted, what's been reviewed, what's been assigned, what's been completed, what's been unresolved, what's been rejected, and what's been canceled. And then throughout those as well, I should be able to open up that request and see any communication from the maintenance team. What you want is you want this to become part of your maintenance culture. You want operations, office staff, production individuals, supervisors to know that whenever they need a request, that when they submit it through Express Request, it gets worked, and or at least there's some good communication going back and forth. This is your messaging system. Otherwise, you're going to continue to get emails, you're going to continue to get phone calls, or you're going to have to continue to use that radio to communicate with those folks because they're not going to use it. So getting this set up like the rest of Express Maintenance is going to be critical to making sure that you can use it effectively and that it gets adopted by your business systems. So when we're talking about setup, specifically, we're looking at the grid properties. So I have this set up for general use, and I've got the unit equipment name and description here. Right next to that is the unit number. Next to that, I want to see the name of the service because I want to know what people are requesting. We're going to get into how to set that up here in a minute. Its current status, who the requester was, when it was requested, the date that they desired it, the priority, and this is flexible. I can change this. This priority will autofill with what they have prioritized it as. But then, of course, being the maintenance team, if I'm the scheduler, then I'm going to recategorize that. Any notes from the requesters going back and forth, the site and location of that request, the work order, assigned date, the completed date, and the created time. So what I'm looking at, this you'll see I'm looking at the assigned category. If I just want to see all of the submitted work requests, here they are. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is sorting by the requested date, because I want to look from what was submitted at the latest all the way to earliest. And as you can see, we have some going all the way back in 2019. And that's not a bad thing. Some requests may have to stay in there until they can actually get worked. So when it comes to where you put Express Maintenance, you want to install Express Maintenance everywhere you can. You want Express Request users to be your eyes and ears. It's part of your preventive maintenance program, or part of your preventive program. When requests get converted into work orders, we enter them as demand or reactive, but it is part of your preventive maintenance. It's kind of an oxymoron. But you want this to be installed on every computer. If you have tablets, you can give Express Request to your folks on the floor, and they can enter requests right on a tablet, and they should be able to access that. Express Request is an unlimited user license, and so if you don't have it, you should get it. But once you have it, it's unlimited users. As many requesters can be logged in at the same time as necessary, and you want to implement this to that level. Then when it comes to the setup here as it relates to these services, so I have a list of all of the services inside Express Maintenance right here. But what I want to be able to see, or what I want my requesters to be able to see, and what I can see should be different. So I don't want all of my requesters to see all of the services that are in express maintenance. Just imagine how confusing it would be if they saw all of the preventive maintenance. So here's an inspection checklist, a monthly offline PM. That's not helpful, and that's going to create some confusion. And as you probably know, if there's confusion, then there's no compliance. And so you want to be able to set up your services in a way that makes it really easy for your requesters to pick a service and then enter that request as quickly as possible. So how you do that is you go to administration and you go to services. Now, I have all of my express request services categorized by repair. And so I'm actually going to drag this over here, and then I'm going to open up my repairs so you guys can see a list of all of my repair services. And you'll notice that I have most of them. I'm not sure about this blackout service site. It's something somebody else created, but I don't want that in my request list because I don't want confusion. So here's the ones that I've entered. Now, let me give you something to think about as you're thinking about entering your requests. A request service will flow all the way to the work order. So if I go to my work orders, and let's say I'm looking at this work order. This is a demand work order. It came from a request, and it says bearing replacement. Is there any question what the requester is asking me to do? Now, they went ahead and typed in, need to change out the bearing on air end. Great, that's helpful. But the service itself is somewhat explanatory. And if you set up your services that way, and here's how we recommend you do it, you do the noun, which would be the actual part that needs to be worked on, and then you put a space dash space, and then you put a verb, something that explains what needs to be done. So you would have under your services, notice that we have belt repair, noun verb, belt replace, noun verb, chuck repair, furnace igniter replacement, hydraulic line repair. You can list all of your parts and then put all of the actions that they can do against all of those parts, and then it will be very easy for your requesters to be able to submit that. Now, you don't have to do that. Of course, express maintenance is very flexible. You can use it however you want. But if your production and folks or your operators are competent and they're willing to work with you, then I wouldn't hesitate to do that, because that's one less thing that I have to do. Now, of course, you're still going to have to troubleshoot, and you're going to have to make sure that's the right service, so that when the work order gets completed, this service should be what was actually done. So at that time, either I would have to change this or I can leave it there, because having something like we have here, which I hate, having breakdown work in here, should never be on the final work order, because that kills your root cause analysis information. You can run a report on all of the services that were performed on a piece of equipment, and if the list of services just says AA breakdown work 3 hours, you don't really know what's going on. You can't pivot that data out. You can't, and it doesn't really help you in your root cause analysis. So having some detailed descriptions, whether you give your requesters access to it up front to be able to pick those detailed descriptions, or you give it to them, to your maintenance team to be able to fill out, I highly recommend that you consider doing that, so that the, let me put this back to bearing replacement, so that the service history reflects what was actually done, and you're able to run your KPI reports a lot easier. So that's, as far as the grid properties are concerned, let me fix this and come back to grid properties. So again, so we have our services, status, requester, requested, date desired, priority, notes, site, location. Over here, we also have work order, assigned date, completed date. You'll notice that all of those are empty. That's because I'm only looking at submitted requests. If I come down here to completed, I'm going to see complete dates. Okay. And then I have my created time and Windows login. And that's how you scroll back and forth. Now, let's say I have a submitted request from, let's look at Phil Winsel sent me a request, and he said this is a test. Well, thanks, Phil. I appreciate that. So I'm actually going to find one by Jordan Brown, and I'm going to send a message to Jordan. Okay, and then I'm going to save that. If I go into Express Request, I'm going to refresh this. Notice there's my message. So I just wanted to demonstrate how you can communicate back and forth with your requesters. So that is how I recommend you guys have it set up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, www.expressmaintenance.com, or you can contact support at expressmaintenance.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. Take care.